This is Ms. DB, and I want to review an alternate way to make your graphs for the 2.7 worksheet. Please watch at least the beginning of the other video where I explain what correlation is and the regression coefficient, the correlation coefficient, which talks about these things here. So this is just an alternative way of making the scatter plots and finding the line of best fit and the R value. So here is our example data, and I'm going to use the website Desmos.com to enter this data, make a scatter plot, and then add the line of best fit. This is called running regression or doing regression analysis. And I'm going to do the example, and then you're going to pick 2 of the 3 problems on the worksheet to complete. So my data for this problem, this example problem, is right here. We want to look at the average high temperatures in 2 different cities for different months of the year. And we're doing Akron and Wellington. And here is what my scatter plot will look pretty much like this when I'm done. So in Desmos, which is desmos.com, and then click on Graph and Calculator, you need to click on the plus sign, add item, and then we're going to make a table. We're going to make this table of values. Now instead, this is a horizontally laid out table. Ours is going to be vertically down. So our first X value, I'll call that Akron, is 33, and Wellington is 67. And then you just click below it to get a new row of the table. So the next Akron is 37, and the Wellingtons is 67. And you continue doing this. You can also use your page down or your arrow down button to keep making more columns or rows as you go. So you could do 48, and then if I just go down, it'll give me another one, and then I could do the second row. I have another page open where I've already entered all that data. So here's the data. Now if I look over here on my graph, I don't see any points. Well, that's because my coordinate system is set up to be from, you can see that it's going from 0 to 15 and 0. Those aren't on here. So I'm going to change my values. You can just zoom out and eventually you can see them. Let me make this window bigger. I'm zooming out. You can see them there. If you want to set your scale better so that you don't see the negatives, you can go to this little this wrench, this tool, and then you can change your x-axis. Like, I don't need to see all these negatives. I could go from 0 on both of them because these don't include any negative numbers. And I don't need to go this high either, but at this point maybe you'll decide that's close enough. So you want to be able to have a nice view of your data that's plotted. Once you get that organized, then come back over here, and we can see that this is pretty close to a line. Not exactly all in a line, but it looks like a linear type of function. So what you do is, we know that the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, right? So we're going to tweak that just a little bit to tell Desmos that we want this to be, we want Desmos to tell us what would be the line that would be going through these points. What would be the line of best fit? So you can't just type in y equals mx plus b because it's not quite right. So here's what we do. We type y with a 1 after it, and Desmos knows to do that as a subscript. So y sub 1, and then instead of the equal sign, you're going to put the is similar to sign, which on my keyboard is at the top left, right to the left of the 1 key. And then instead of x, we also use x sub 1. So when you type in, you don't have to try to subscript it, you just type a 1 after it, and Desmos knows to do that. And then I need the plus, and then the b. So you don't have to put 1s after the m or the b. Those are the numbers that Desmos is going to tell us what they are. He's going to tell us, or she, or it. This system is going to tell us what m and b are. So let's look. Here we have that m is, that's the slope of this line, is negative 0.317501, and B is 77.7326. It calculated these for us, which is great. The R value, if you listen to the other video, it tells you that this is a pretty strong negative correlation because R is quite close to 1. The absolute value of this is close to 1, and it's negative, which means it's going downhill. And if you look at the graph, you can see that this is this line does go through these points. So the equation of the line, when you're asked to write that, you wouldn't put it exactly like this. You would write y equals, and then you put your slope in, negative 0.3175, and then the x, and then plus the b is 77.7326 or whatever. That's the equation of that line. That's the line of best fit, and that's the equation of it. So when you answer what's the equation of line best fit, you would write it in this form. To take a screenshot of this, you can use your snip thing or your screenshot, or you can go up here to the share graph button and you can get a link to it. So you can copy and paste this link and paste it into your worksheet, and I'll actually be able to click on the link. You can also export the image, which then you could save it and attach that if you wanted, but the easiest way is probably to copy the link or to take a screenshot of this and then put that in your graph. Don't forget that there's, or in your worksheet, don't forget that there's also questions to answer about this, like there might be some questions about what this means, so do that as well. All right, well, thank you very much for your time. Let me know if you have any questions.